All right, greetings, Hive. Hope you all are doing well. It is day 72 of my 90-day challenge. And once again, every day is a milestone as this is the second time I am doing this challenge. The most I did back last summer was 60 days. So at least 2 solid months. And then it was back to school. So this happened for me back in July and August, and then the summer was over, and it was back to school. So yeah, it was and at the same time, we did have uh, a three a 2 night vacation prior heading to school. So it was tough going back to the uh, getting back into it again. And yeah, the vacation was fun. So, but yeah, you definitely for myself utilizing the vacation um, as a way of just being motivated and just like this is we can get healthy, right? We can even enjoy this even more. So, fortunately, you learn that later, right, in life. And what's the thing? Every day is a learning experience, something new, and something to just once again motivate you, right? So before we do these things, we gotta put in the work first and get better and get healthy, so that we can be our better version of ourselves. Or it's especially the topic of this lesson is basically being how do you say it, very important for us to recognize that we are already enhanced, right? So we have the abilities already. It's just that our abilities have been suppressed through a lot of just not great eating, right? So and you can already see it already that you're feeling tired. You're feeling out of shape, you don't feel active. So basically, we live in a world that is very stressful, right? And constantly bombarding us with information, right? So it's been especially we need the quick meals as much as possible, and after a long day work. Sometimes you don't want to prepare food. That's why, especially in this program, very important that we prepare food um, at least one day a week, right? So prepping food ahead of time, putting them in containers, and then your regular Monday to Friday or whatever your schedule is. They just picking up these containers and just heating up, and it's ready to go, right? Doesn't have to be, preparing, every single night, every single morning. Sure, once again, it might be, a lot at first, or not enough to, but once again, you focus on your goals, your priorities, right? A priority, which is should be, which we call our core values, right? And through that, it's really zeroing in on what truly is important to you. So once again, when we were doing this 90-day program, we emphasize on just having that body talk, right? Having that inner dialogue to really connect with your body, right? Basically, to reach your full potential and unlock that enhanced version of yourself. Definitely, once again, you have to recognize that your body is a hardware, all physical form. And once again, it is capable of manifesting things, right? So it's really up to us to really zero in on our identity, what we want to achieve, and once in our identity, who we are, and working towards who we want to be, and then taking those actions that will help support us to becoming that. Because I mean, I definitely this once again, this morning is like realizing that we all want to reach success, wealth, and win the lottery. But at the same time, they say that you want, oh nice, you want everyone, you want a business, everyone wants a business, right? But at the same time, we're treating our business like we're employees, right? We're treating our business that we want someone else to make the decisions for us, right? And at the same time, if you're looking at your boss to make the decisions, and then you're putting yourself as the boss, like obviously these people are going to look for you for the decisions. And if you're not you know who you are, or you don't you haven't invested and put in the reps in developing who you are, and doing the reps in the knowledge you need to run a business, then obviously no matter what amount of money that you create, it's just gonna be funneling out. It's gonna be like a sinking ship, and you didn't bring the material to patch it up, right? So doesn't matter if you win the lottery, but if you are just hoping that someone will grow that money for you, right? You're just handing your money to certain things, you're losing out on the true potential of gaining those skills for yourself and becoming that investor. Um, right? So once again, what it does here for food is like, once again, we have those abilities already. I've heard comments like, oh, certain food helps enhance our vision. Certain foods makes our skin, hair, nails a lot healthier, right? Certain things do this, certain things do that, right? And the thing is are they making us healthy, or enhancing us, or we already have that natural ability to enhance? It's just been bogged down with so much processed food, sugars, empty carbs, seed oils, right? Eating junk food, right? Foods that lack so much nutrient that our body needs. And that's the thing. These, our bodies are, once again, just our physical form, our consciousness as well are two separate things. And that's why we need to have that body talk, our conversations with our body. And once again, I uh going through what I've been through during COVID, during my major calf injury, and going through my meditation with my coaching program, that I realized that I didn't appreciate my body a lot more, right? It's not that my body failed me, it's realizing that you know I pushed my body in the state that it that I didn't appreciate more what it was, what it had to endure, right? So it's not one thing, when you're with someone and they've been supporting you all this time and helping you in your dreams and goals, and then when push comes to shove, and they just had enough, and when they leave you, right, you just realize later, uh, that how much support that these people have been, the person has been giving you, right? And this is the same thing with your body. Your body is doing its very best to keep you alive, keep you, but once again, we think, like, you know we are in control of our body. We think that, we have enough, oh, I'm still young, right? I can burn this, I have time, right? I can turn things around, right? So it's just, we delay what is, that uh just for, instant gratification, and then, hoping that tomorrow will be something different, something new, right? So definitely, once again, we're suppressing our true capabilities when, we're bogging it down with just food that lack nutrients, right? And it's not the thing that, once again, enhancing these certain foods enhance us. It's just, you know the lack of these ones, and the continuous use of foods that lack nutrition and are not healthy for us, right? That have pulled us away from, what we were capable of doing. So if you are feeling, the brain fog and processing speed, right? It's it's consuming high amounts of sugars and empty carbohydrates that you know cro- creates these spikes in our blood sugars, right? So once again, sugar is, if there's one thing, if I if let's say, if there's one thing that you can do to really enhance your health and overall being, it's removing sugars from your diet. The second most is, removing grains, right? Empty carbs, right? Those two alone, right? It can, you know, drastically change you, in days and weeks, right? And obviously, in the program that I'm doing, it's more important to get the nutrient dense foods in, and then it's so much easier, to remove those other stuff. But usually people focus on elimination, calorie restriction, and it's not sustainable because our bodies think we're being deprived. Our body thinks that nothing's coming in, right? So through that aspect, then it holds on to what it has. And obviously, it's for us who wants to be healthy and strong and improve our health span, our lifespan. That's not what we want it to happen, right? We want to release our stuff, but at the same time, we're swimming upstream because we're going against our body, which, we're not intending to do it, but at the same time, our body, once again, we need to appreciate our body, realizing that its primary focus is, survival, to keep us healthy and strong, and give us, at the same time, give us those abilities, especially for the next our kids, our offsprings. Imagine that lady that's able to lift a car because her child's pinned underneath it, right? And our bodies are able to do these things for survival, for passing on the good genes to the next generation, to ensure that those instincts, to ensure that our offsprings live a full life, right? So our bodies have its own, its own automations and its own instincts and whatnot. It's just us being manipulated by um, information out there, our culture, our upbringing, let's say even people in power in corporations, that once again, profits is their primary goal, that we are our abilities are being suppressed. So once again, it's not about, once again, having these certain things improve us. It's that we already have these abilities. It's just that you know we've been just overwhelmed, both once again physically, eating stuff that that is being forced upon us through through advertising, through triggers, through upbringings, and then also uh mentally, right? Being fed information that is sometimes funded by these same companies that are wanting us to eat their food for continuous profit, right? Backing up so-called science that have probably may be lacking the information, or swayed in a way that certain things are beneficial for us, even though you know they are not, right? So once again, breakfast is is a very key opponent and very recommended, but at the same time, this trend, and certainly once again it is, right, but this trend was a marketing ploy in a way, that to eat cereals, right, to eat toast, to eat various carbohydrate and sugary foods, right, to once again now build that culture. Especially imagine, now the culture of coffee, right? Because it's it's a thing, right? And now once again, we're driven with those habits in mind. And imagine once again, McDonald's, right? Being being trained through the youth of having those happy meals, having those toys, and having those things as trigger points to, oh, McDonald's is a happy experience, right? And certainly, once again, you are creating memories with your parents, or and then the flip side, creating smiles with your children. But at the same time, these foods are not great for us, right? They lack a lot of nutrients, and we're just repeating that cycle, right? And we're being once again suppressed of our enhanced abilities that we already have. And it's just, it's not a great thing. Once again, it's not our fault, because once again, marketing psychology, uh, companies have used these to um figure us out, right? And and utilizing marketing ploys for us to continue to use their products, right? So once again, it's just, you read stuff on there. Oh, this is a superfood. This is, and that's the thing. Superfood is basically where we uh, evolved into eating these foods uh, in a in over time. Just imagine like the dung beetle, right? Obviously, you say, "Oh my goodness, that's gross. That's disgusting. It's eating another creature's poop." But it's evolved, and it's superfood because its digestion has evolved to be able to break that down, right? So when it comes to superfoods, uh, it only applies if we've been you know we've been consuming that, even not from us, even from, say, our parents, our grandparents, been eating that food for their entire lives to pass on that gene to us, right? And not even, we won't even say that. It's like even like great 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 right, right, way up in the food chain, way up in our family history, to consider these things, superfood. So it's just funny that when we compare things from other areas in the world, we'll just like say the Mediterranean diet, right? Or in back way back east, the seafood diet, and we're talking about seafood, not looking at food and we eat, right? So um that's the thing, right? It's we're comparing what's happening in another part where our evolution, and it's still, it's not going to be even enough to basically dictate that those things will benefit us. Obviously, overall, eating as natural as we can is something that that has been part of our natural evolution, no matter where you are in the world. But now, just once again, we sacrifice um, our abilities for automation, right? The quick and easy, convenient food is once again not convenient for our overall health. And once again, it's very important for us to realize that how much do we want to give to quick foods, through automation, through AI, and especially when ourselves were not taking actions to improve. Right, we just won't come to the point where we just want to rest and relax and make sure everything, have other things take care of itself, right? And when we stop growing and we settle, then it's we're not even improving. Like, if we want to say maintaining, we're not even maintaining, or getting further and further behind. And when we finally realize that life has already passed us by, once again, you know the stream of life continue go down, continue to flow, right? Like, we're not even getting anywhere if we maintaining. And once again, if we look at the stream, as life flowing through, you guys were being left behind, right? And we're not even progressing. And yeah, that's the thing. We're not. even maintaining, we're getting, we're falling behind, right? So it's not one thing just to just um, progress, to maintain things, but we have to maintain things in a certain point that we're still progressing. Don't have to do something that's crazy, like, we're trying to, improve 25 to 50%. Just getting ahead of, as we good example, just getting ahead of inflation is still putting you up for success. uh whatever happens in the future, you're maintaining at a certain point that's ahead of something else, right? So for our overall health, you know we're meant it's not really always about being religious of sticking to um our overall health, right? There's a point where we have to live life as well, and human connections with those people who matter the most of us is matters most to us, is that we're enjoying those moments and those connections, those transfer of energy, right? And you know those days, at the same time, us, we do our very best to maintain our health, um and sometimes, some people are not ready to make those commitments, so sometimes we make those sacrifices as well. But especially when you're going through this 90-day program, right? Once again, doing it for a second time, it's not even 90 days anymore, it's like 60 days. Doing it a third time, fourth time, that window starts shrinking as you build those layers, as you build those foundations, right? Each challenge becomes a foundation on top of the other, right? As you assess what your primary focus is for this challenge, and then you focus on the next challenge and these other focuses, then you're building up towards that 100%. So once again, every challenge, once again, what becomes 90 days becomes 60 days, becomes 30 days, becomes to the point where even after one night with friends and families, you can get back to it in 5 to 6 days, right? Right. And once again, it's just, once again, that moment, obviously, you're not going to be partying every single night, right? But at least, you have that control, that responsibility to stay on top of things. And once again, mark things off on your utilize your calendar. Your calendar is a powerful thing, right? So time blocking those important things, for yourself, right? Don't create a to-do list. Put those lists on your calendar, and then you can see if this your list starts building up on your calendar. It's like, no, I need to shrink this list, because we create to-do lists, and they have no, they don't have any deadlines. We just like, we'll get to it when we get to it, right? And that's the thing. It's like, once again, we have these abilities. We are already enhanced. It's just we given up our ability to choose healthy foods, because over convenience we have given our right to uh, our growth, right? Because we trust other people to take care of certain things for us, whether it's our government, our employment, right? Like, it's truly really up to us to take that responsibility to you know take hold of our our health and our overall future, right? So hopefully that it's like, hopefully that this has been helpful for you, and just realize once again, our program's based on three pillars. It's reset, reclaim, and rise up. So once again, very important as well that you know our upbringing is our upbringing, and at the same, we even if say that even our parents, if we are parents, then obviously we're responsible for our youth, our offsprings, our children. Vice versa, us being children, you know our parents were responsible for us and whatever capability that they can. So we relied on them to make sure that we are taken care of, so that we can pursue our have that free will to as best as it can to to grow and to experience, to learn, and once again probably take over our future. So there were many decisions and information and upbringing that happened during the time. So as I say, for reset, our pillar of reset, definitely reset those songs, because what was then uh, may be so much different as us being adults, and we just as youth we just took it with as truth, and we definitely did not look through it as a lens of just let's just take it with a grain of sand, right? Until we make our own research, and that's not definitely sometimes that's not what we did, is discovering things for ourselves, right? So it's like, okay, well, mom and dad said not to do that, right? And what and so forth. So that's what I'm not going to do, and then realizing life is just like, oh, that's not really how it happens. So just reset for now, question what was our upbringing, and then realizing, okay, there's a better way of doing this, right? And once again, we are all enhanced, so definitely reclaim what was already our capability, that it's just been suppressed with with life, suppressed with and once again, life is gonna happen with or without us, right? It's just we given up that power, we given up that energy to just basically survive and not even thrive. So definitely reclaim those our own abilities, are again, right? We are all enhanced already. It's just we need to clear out clear out the gunk physically, and then once again fill our minds once again with those that truly matter to us, and that's going to help us grow and over time. And then once again, the final pillar is rise up. So once we question life and discover who we are, and who we want to be, and the road and direction to get that, and that's when we start rising up again. We rise up to our capabilities. We rise up to something much bigger than us, right? And we rise up to the moment where even when we draw our last breath, that our legacy, or what we've done, continues on, um, the year after, 5 years, 10 years, couple of decades. And that is what I'm creating here, with just the start of this 90-day challenge. And through that, it's things are going to evolve over time, right? And we're definitely creating other programs to definitely take it to that next level where, you know, and once again, it's hype for a reason, right? We're creating that environment, and we're working together, and we're thriving together, and then sooner or later we can create big change that even with us alone we can, like, a beehive, we definitely, we can improve the nature around us. We can improve the community around us, right? But yet it's still not enough. But in a way that, you know we already create that ripple effect, and sooner, one of us is going to fly off to another area, and then another one of us will fly off to another area, and sooner or later, even way past our lifespan, that, you know we made those decisions to make, that has created a ripple effect that has changed the world, right? Even though if it's our, once again, we do through these 90-day challenges, even though, our impact in the global scope of things is 1%, but you create that way of duplication. Maybe next year it's 2%, 3%, and it starts scaling. Oh, what's four? No, five. Well, five, 7, 10, right? And unfortunately, we may not see that, but at least when we were living with improved health span. We're not living with aged faster. We're living even younger than we are. We're making the most with the life that's given to us by living healthier. So we're definitely enjoying this creation, but also realizing that, it's not going to be enough. But at the same time, now we're driven to give, do more, give more, and reach out more, right? And it's just, unfortunately, humans don't have a long lifespan, right? So, but at the same time, are we making the most? And once again, it's all in our control. And want, if I want, once again, like last few episodes, if I want to break the cycle, right? I definitely don't want to live my last 10 years, bedridden, right? And I love and I miss my dad, but, obviously, we have to, our goals as the next generation, as the offspring, is to progress forward. All right. Hopefully, this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for once again listening, and I appreciate all of you. I appreciate my members on Twitch, my Hive members on Twitch. So if this has been helpful, feel free to give it the thumbs up and like. Once again, this is being streamed on 3 different platforms, on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. Feel free to hit those notification buttons when I go live. But yeah, feel free to follow and subscribe. And once again, I'm working on the website, so you can head over to the QR codes here, or head over to coachryanj.com. Um, there is, we're working on the buttons there. So there'll be buttons to the 3-day workshop. And I believe we will be doing the 3-day workshop on the 30th instead of next Monday, right? As my wife will be wrapping up her last day of work, and he'll be on a 2 week vacation. But my son's um, next week will be his last week of spring break, so we're gonna do something together. Once again, my youngest son. So unfortunately, my eldest is still in in the states. So yeah. So we'll be doing a 3-day workshop starting on the 30th, and then I'll just make a little adjustment there on day 30. Instead of having 2 weeks, obviously we're only going to have a 1 week head start. So what probably will be on the 30th, you're going to have week one notes, right? And then when it comes to the start of week one of the 90-day challenge on April 6th, then you have a head start and you can start week two twice, right? And that's actually week two is going to be the important one, and that's once again that is about getting the good stuff in. All right, so yeah, so yeah, definitely will have a head start, and then yeah, once again, it's if things go well, then obviously um, then you guys are more than welcome to join me on this 90-day challenge. So just getting things ready here, and hopefully once again it will hoping to help and serve all of you who believe that this 90-day challenge will help you like it's been helping me. So once again, it's not going to be a perfect run, but at the same time, 1% here, 6% each. Say this challenge right now, you're 6% better coming to the next challenge, and that's once again, we had testimonial of they fallen off the wagon, but at least at the same time they're having those body talks still, and through that, change, right, and that awareness can go a long way in chipping away what was decades upon decades of unhealthy eating. All right, so thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hopefully, this has been helpful. As always, continue to raise your environment so that in that environment, in that hive, you're able to raise yourself. And once again, once you work towards becoming that, then you can finally, take that direction and be that impact uh, when you return in your own environment, your friends, your colleagues, your family, and creating your very own community. And that definitely, once again, through that lens, that definitely once helps me reach that realization. Like there's only as much as I can control in myself until I build um my hive, right? And then sooner or later, you guys will be creating your own hives, your own community, your own environment, and once again, you guys will create your own ecosystem, right? And that is just once again, that is the expansion, the change that we can all create. Once again, we are all enhanced. It's just once again now it's just really up to us to take that responsibility and create lasting impact for ourselves, those we care about, and our environment, our global environment. All right, take good care. I wish you a wonderful evening, and I will catch you again on the next stream. Take good care.